always ask yourself what the intention is instead of just trying to define things as good versus bad. Hey fam, okay, so today I do want to talk about good versus bad, right? The reason why I want to talk about good versus bad, I think, is because a lot of people are kind of asking me, Hock, you know, like in a recent post, I actually mentioned about carbs, right? Whether carbs are bad, and of course, exercises also, this applies to them. But they're asking, you know, what do I think or believe are good carbs versus bad carbs? Here's the thing, right? I'm just gonna generalize them. Firstly, good versus bad, it all boils down to one thing, okay? And as you're asking about, you know, what is good, what is bad, and you're kind of questioning, you know, what are the different subject matters that is gonna have good stuff, bad stuff for you, all of it boils down to one other thing, which I really want kind of everyone to really think about, is really the intention, right? I think a lot of times people are not really thinking about the intention of, let's say, the things they're eating, the intention of the exercise they're doing, and then they just very simply ask, you know, like, what is good for you, what is bad for you. A lot of times it really boils down to intention, right? So with intention and honestly the context of things, it then will, you know, be more applicable for you to ask, are these steps better for you in that case, right? I still won't generally categorize them in good versus bad, because that's just how I work, or it's something about Libras, I think. But the way I work is not like a black and white thing. I kind of balance out the perspectives and understand more about the things we do. And I really want, and at some point I hope all of you can really start to think about this in this way, right? Before you ask whether good versus bad, you really need to ask yourself what are your intention in terms of choosing the things that you want to do or are asking about. Okay, so let me give you a quick example, right? So someone asks, Hock, what are good carbs to you? What are bad carbs to you? And on the flip side, I ask them, instead of asking what's good or bad carbs, I want to ask you, what are your definitions of good and bad, right? In this sense, we're talking about carbs generally. And this lady actually went on to tell me basically like, oh, so I do believe that low GI carbs are the most nutritious, has the most nutrients, and therefore are the best carbs. Okay, and this is what I just replied her honestly. So there are a couple of points there that she pointed out, right? For her, good carbs are things with more nutrients. That's one. Okay, the other thing that will lead her to defining whether those carbs are good is that they are low GI. So here comes back to the intention, right? If you are looking for carbs that gives you the most nutrients, right? So apart from the macronutrients, there are the micronutrients, the minerals, the vitamins and stuff like that in the carb sources. Because your intention is that, then I would say it's fair to say that that is a better source for you. Still, would I say that it's a good source or bad source? Honestly speaking, I don't like to categorize them like that, because it's still based on intention. It's just whether it pushes you forward towards the intention, that goal of yours, or does it, you know, not be aligned, it's not aligned basically with your intention. Alright, so low GI may be good for her, or rather she thinks it's good. Another factor there to think about is because her intention is probably to make sure that her blood sugar levels aren't always elevated high, which, by the way, I would say that it's true, maybe low GI foods don't really spike your carb levels up that high, but still, you know, it's still going to be some carbs there, and it's still going to have a spike in terms of the blood sugar. So your insulin level will also spike, okay? But I'm not going to go into that now. But you can see, right, like it's really all based on the intention of what you are doing with that thing, right? So we just gave an example on nutrition, right? Let's go into exercises. A lot of times, a lot of people are always saying that, oh, you shouldn't be doing the exercise that way because it's bad for you, right? For whatever reason, it's just bad for you. So I don't know what they mean by that. So a lot of times when people give this kind of advice, it's just because they heard someone say that, yeah, you shouldn't do it like that, it's bad for you. But it really comes back down to intention. Over the years, okay, honestly speaking, I think it will take some time and really you going through certain things to really appreciate what I'm saying. But over time, over the years, as I've been training myself, as I've gone through certain kind of injuries and stuff like that, and got better with those, and actually seen other people get injured, I realized, there's no such thing as bad exercise. At the end of the day, it's the intention of your movement, right? A lot of us, I'll give you a really quick example, right? So for example, what's an example that everyone has? Okay, for example, the recent video that I did, right? Squatting, and people gave the advice that, yeah, your knees shouldn't go past your toes, alright? Because that's bad for you. So here comes back down to the intention, right? Why is it bad for you? Why can't your knees go past your toes, right? If the intention here is because your knees are already injured, okay, and it already has a limited mobility, you can't actually bend it properly, then the intention here is to reduce the amount of bend but still allowing you to actually do some kind of squats so that you can use your muscles. Then I would say, yeah, that's a good advice, because in that case, the knees not going past your toes is actually bad, alright, because it causes pain, and it will cause pain in the subsequent moment. But if the intention here is just to say that like your knees are totally healthy, but your knees should just not go past your toes, that's just wrong, right? Because that is not right at all. That's just someone just saying something or repeated from someone else because it's generalized, right? So for those of you who really want to build up good quad muscles, and actually because your knees are already healthy now, and you want to actually improve your joint health, you want to improve the strength at your knee, I would actually argue, if that was your intention, it's actually a good thing for you to practice squatting with your knees going past your toes. But basically, I really do believe that a lot of us can really start to dive deeper into topics once you really understand that there isn't necessarily a good versus bad. I'm not going to go into politics here, but hint, some of these things, good versus bad, are usually propagated by the same group of people, so at the end of the day, you really, okay, let's not go into politics, right? But really, all these things that you're asking in terms of fat loss, weight loss, exercise, whatever, you really need to ask yourself what's the intention that you have here. Then you want to ask yourself what is better, what moves you, drives you towards the intention, and what moves you away from the intention. Alright, and it's not necessarily just because those things move you towards the intention that they are, good, and those things that move you away are bad. Alright, so you really got to ask yourself what moves you towards or away, and I think that is going to be a better way of understanding the topic at hand, okay, rather than just kind of labeling everything as good versus bad. I know that's the easy way out. Of course, if you don't want to spend time on the topic, you want to just quickly categorize them as good versus bad, go for it. I'm not gonna pressure you to do anything, but if you're on this page, if you are kind of following me, I really do hope that all of you can start thinking about the deeper side of things. Are cheat meals good or bad? You see, here's the thing, intention, right? Typically for me, when I manage my members, our clients, we don't do cheat meals, we do refeeds, right? Because those are more strategic. I don't like to use the word cheat. Again, intention. If you use cheat, sounds like you're gonna be guilty or something. But for the conventional meaning of cheat meals, are they good or bad? It really boils down to your intention. Okay, if your intention is to give yourself a momentary brief respite, alright, you can just relax yourself psychologically as well as really upregulate some of your hormones, then the intention, yeah, it moves towards that helps you, great. But if the cheat meals, you're using it as just because you're just eating just because you did a hard work, then you really got to evaluate, right, the intention of the cheat meal. What is the real intention there? Oh, good point, right? So you got to also identify whether your intention is relevant, right? It moves you towards your goal, right? So even the intention itself, you have to evaluate it. Zen.Train asks, I have been exercising for weeks, do wrestling and sports and stuff, but he still hasn't lost weight and it's been 3 weeks. And he's also eating clean as well. Same thing here, I've mentioned. The intention here is for you to lose weight, sounds like it, right? Or rather, you should really ask yourself, right, is your intention to lose weight? Because it seems like you are doing sports and stuff like that. Your intention may not be losing weight, your intention might be just enjoying the activities. If your intention is to lose weight, then here's the thing, right? You haven't lost weight. So, and it's been 3 weeks, so definitely you have to review your methods, right? Here's the thing, this is the famous quote: if you keep doing the same thing expecting different results, that's the definition of insanity. So honestly speaking, about 3-4 weeks is probably a good time. In fact, if you're talking about actual weight loss, not fat loss, if you're talking about weight loss, a good 2 to 3 weeks should be ample time for you to evaluate if what you're doing is making sense, okay? And I repeat myself and emphasize, it's because you're talking about weight loss. Fat loss is a bit different, but weight loss, 2 to 3 weeks, you should definitely be seeing some kind of changes. If you're not, you should definitely evaluate it. And I will say this, because this is very common, just because you're eating clean does not mean you're eating in a caloric deficit. So if you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose weight no matter what you do. Alright, so find the calories that make sense for you, the deficit that makes sense for you, and implement it, and you'll be able to, you should, generally speaking, be able to lose the weight. Okay, for a lot of us, that's probably going to be the case. That's again generalizing, but I will say that caloric deficit does not work for everyone. It does not apply to 100% of people, because there are a percentage of people that will have to look at different other factors, and it really is specific to you, and I'm not going to go into this now. But yeah, okay, bringing back to the point, always ask yourself what the intention is, instead of just trying to define things as good versus bad.